Please listen carefully.
Hello, universe, and welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Summers McKay.
And I'm Kristy Jansen, and we are part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to get us all focused on solutions.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy, holiday week-worthy podcast. Today is Monday, the 22nd of November, 2021. All right, Kristy, it's a short week this week. You ready for it?
Yeah. Although, when Friday came around last week, I was kicking myself at how little I seemed to have accomplished in the week. My to-do list doesn't seem to be getting any shorter, and it's so frustrating. And so this is going to be even a shorter week, but it has a really good payout at the end of it, because I am going to be doing a Thanksgiving with many of my, not all, sadly, but many of my close friends and family.
Well,
yeah.
So I want to point out that you mentioned that you were kicking yourself, and just take a moment to remind you and remind everyone that to-do lists are never justification for kicking ourselves. We're all amazing people. We're all trying our damnedest to get through this thing called life. No kicking yourself is allowed.
Thank you for that, Summers.
Yeah. So we started this conversation this morning. I was showing Kristy pictures of my daughter at her preschool, hugging goats and gluing feathers onto paper plates, and something is like all over her mouth, and I don't know what it is, and she just looks filthy and delighted. And I think we need to come up with a solution somewhere for like adult daycare for people in their like 40s and 50s who need to go glue feathers on paper plates.
And I pointed out that's what co-working space was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Although it included things like on tap kombucha and other fun stuff like that.
Oh my goodness. When this whole journey started of you and I working together, I was in a co-work space that had on-tap beer and on-tap kombucha and coffee galore, and our dogs would run around like crazy animals. And so I have to say, I was talking to a friend earlier this morning. I think I need to get back into a co-work space. I think I need humans. And that sounds crazy because I've been so happy with my isolation, but I might have to start looking for a local co-work space around here, or maybe create one. Anybody know of a great co-work space in Southwest Austin? Let me know. Because I need beer on tap for 8 a.m. beers.
Maybe not beer on tap.
Okay. No, not beer on tap.
Coffee, but good coffee would be
good
nice.
Coffee, kombucha, community. And as long as there's paper plates with feathers and stick glue, I know I'll be fine.
You will be happy. Well, talking about games, Summers.
Yes.
I think you should share your story first.
All right. Yes. Well, we are clearly in a bit of a playful mood this morning. I think both excited for the week ahead. And that's why I chose the story that I chose. Now, Kristy actually found this story and forwarded it to our editors. So I'm third string on this one, but I have fallen in love with this story. My headline reads, How One Neighborhood Used Gamification to Reduce Traffic Emissions. Green transportation methods like walking, biking, public transportation obviously reduce carbon emissions, improve air quality for residents, and make people's health better. Although it can be really difficult to encourage people to choose these methods over hopping in their own car, doing the drive-through, getting a cup of coffee.
Because we all have a habit of doing what we do, and how do you shift people away from their habits and things they're used to
You make it fun.
Yes.
So one neighborhood in London cracked the code. They turned it into a game. The London borough of Hounslow launched an initiative called Beat the Street in 2019, trying to get their residents to bike and walk more. What they did is they placed like a scan card reading box all around town and gave residents cards to scan at each box. Every time a resident touched 2 boxes, they received points for using green transportation to travel between the locations. So these were strategically placed. You couldn't really access them with a car. You had to get there by bike or by walking. And at the end of a 6-week trial period, individual schools and businesses with the most points were given prizes like books and vouchers for sports and crafting materials. They probably gave them feathers and paper plates and stick glue. Now, all in, the researchers were able to recruit 28,219 participants. And get this, it reduced car traffic by 53% during morning commute hours and 34% during evening commute hours. Can you imagine, guys, half the traffic or 2/3 of the traffic? The number
One third.
Well, no, because you would have 2/3 left. 1/3 was reduced, right? It was reduced by 34%.
Right. Oh,
So you
yes,
still have,
exactly.
yeah. Don't math me this early on a Monday morning, Kristy. Now, participants also reported being physically active, reducing the number of those who said they were physically inactive from 25 to 18%. What I love about this is it takes a problem in this world, emissions and inactivity, and also a lack of community, and solves it with a game. And these prizes weren't like $1 million for getting a vaccination. You know, it wasn't like some lottery. It was, hey, let's have fun doing this. Let's win a prize. It reminds me of like childhood sort of fun runs and book club runs and stuff, that it takes a really important mission and makes it something that we can all do together and have in an enjoyable way. So
one thing I'm wondering about is, I wonder what happened to the program. Are they still working on this, or was it a one and done kind of a situation? We're going to have to do some follow up on this.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to Google that while you talked about your story. And let me see if they've found a way to reuse or recycle this program elsewhere.
And I just think this is such a great story. It reduces the traffic emissions. It also reduces the sound. I mean, cars are noisy unless they're electric. It reduces the emissions and the smog, which affects people's health.
Kristy, I just went to beatthestreet.me.
Yeah.
So they have 10 locations. It's gone to Burnley, Caen, Camsblung, and Rutherglen, Harwich and Dovecourt, Middlesbrough. I mean, it's spread.
It's taking off all over England.
And there's like this cute video of this little girl with braids putting her little card up to the thing. So it's got how to play instructions. It is really, it's not just one location anymore. It has grown. The game in Swindon had 29,376 players and 319,870 miles of game coverage that were spent or covered in a green way. So
this is brilliant. We got to do it here. Let's bring it home.
Let's bring it home, and somehow you and I will greenly transport ourselves between Austin and Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not. That's going to be a really long bike trip for me. Now, Kristy, I tried to make a really, really awkward segue to your story talking about recycling these readers, but let's just make it a straight transition. What do you have to talk about today?
The article that I wanted to talk about is also kind of a community building, down on the ground level advancement and solution, and one that I am so happy about, and I'm thrilled that it's actually happening. I've been a right to repair advocate for a long time, and also following this movement as it's developed out of US, but also there's been lawsuits in like Norway and France attacking big tech companies, attacking car companies for disallowing people to fix the technology or the products that they've purchased from those companies. And one of the biggest ones is Apple, and they've also been one of the toughest nuts to crack when it comes to this kind of behavior, where up until recently, if you replaced your battery on your Apple iPhone, then it would not be, you wouldn't be able to do anything with it and repair it by the Apple store. Basically, you break the contract with Apple, and and it's considered now it's not goods anymore. You can't return it. You can't upgrade. And you could potentially get sued by the company for fixing the thing you actually
Which
own.
is so crazy to think
ridiculous.
that it's absurd.
So, but a couple of years ago, they opened it up in 2019 where they allowed Apple products to be available to independent repair shops. And now they are going to make self-repair parts, tools, and manuals available to customers. So this is following the growing pressure from the right to repair advocates and the movement around the United States. And it's a global movement. But now they're going to be selling spare parts and tools that are going to allow general public to repair their devices at home. So under this program, customers can buy parts, and they also can have access to manuals to repair their own iPhones and Mac computers. The company will start with about 200 of the issues that are most commonly needed,
like
parts
cracked screens,
like screens, displays, batteries, cameras on some of the newer models. And the customers are going to be able to buy the supplies at the same price as repair shops, which have actually, I'm sure you've seen in your neighborhoods and your malls, they have the I fix your iPhone kind of places, the I fix it kind of. And I've actually had my battery on an old phone replaced in the past for far less than it would cost to get a new phone, for example. But I just think this is a really interesting movement. I'm wondering if it's their attempt to undercut the independent shops. That's my cynical side.
Well, that is so welcome Kristy's non-optimistic. But I think so those independent shops can also be very cost prohibitive, right?
Absolutely.
So in addition, I think it perhaps Apple is undercutting them, but it's also making it more accessible, right? And now that we know, I mean, the simple fact is having a mobile phone is really for many just a utility, right? It's no longer, yes, Santa doesn't bring you iPhones, right? That's not the nature of Santa's gifts, but people need iPhones, right? We have to have a mobile phone, right? The smartphones are how we access our world. And so making it possible for those who are handy to fix it themselves, as well as perhaps bringing the costs down of repair is probably good.
Plus, it's going to energize a whole new subset of young people who I imagine, or hobbyists who can build a do-it-yourself movement. Yep. I think it's going to be interesting to see what kind of creativity comes out of this kind of right to repair, open source type of approach to technology. And it's
all of our young innovators heading into Thanksgiving, right? Heading into Thanksgiving meals, wanting to have a good conversation with your families, like tell them you're going to learn to repair everybody's iPhone, fix grandma's iPhone.
and you will be taken up on it, I'm sure. Yep. I mean, I already get called in to fix everybody's emails with all my older relatives, older friends, or help them get online or help them sign up for things. I mean, and I am not the young tech nerd that our kids are. But it's just such an interesting movement. It started out of like farmers who now a lot of tractors, they use electronics and they are proprietary. And farmers are very self-sufficient. They're used to just having a tractor and owning it for 40 years and you fix it when it gets broken. But John Deere and Caterpillar, these other big companies have they were making it less possible for these new technologies to get easily repaired. And now that is shifting, and cars in general have gotten so much more complicated. Summer, I know your husband is a car enthusiast and he likes the old cars, partly because there's no computer chips in them.
Right. There's no chips shortage. There's nothing that he can't or somebody he doesn't know can't fix themselves, right? They can wrench on things.
But as we move away from internal combustion engines and become more and more reliant on this kind of technology, we're going to have to grow some people who know how to fix them.
Yeah.
So I think this is great.
What else? Right, well, everybody, it is Monday, so it's time to get back to work, but we have a few more headlines. We won't touch on them all, but just some that stand out to me. 7 sustainable ways to use wrapping paper, or more sustainable ways to wrap your gifts. There are Thanksgiving foods that have surprising nutritional benefits. I'm guessing yams are probably in there. Novel mRNA vaccine offers protection against Lyme disease. That and much, much more, guys, is as always available on the optimistdaily.com. We promise to continue to deliver positive solution-based stories with ideas on how you can participate in this changing world and have great discussions at your Thanksgiving dinner. We will cover the current events with accuracy, legitimate sources, and offer you the information needed most to chart new paths for all of us. Guys, do us a huge, 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 huge favor this week and tell all your friends and family about the Optimist Daily, because we need more support. What do we need, Kristy?
We want everybody to consider becoming an emissary on the optimistdaily.com or gifting it. It's a great gift for your family members who maybe you can't figure out what to get them. And there's no supply chain issues. Just buy them a subscription or a membership.
No chip shortage here, friends.
Right. It's starting at just $5 a month. You can help support reader-funded independent journalism and be part of the solution-changing consciousness that is addressing our world's biggest challenges with a problem-solving mindset. Let's help keep the Optimist Daily free to all who need it, supported by those of us who can. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Optimist Daily Update. We will be back tomorrow with more solutions.
Bye, guys.